Welcome to the Village Podcast, a podcast focusing on the students, staff, and community members that make Village Elementary unique. We are your hosts today. I am Olivia.
My name is Helena.
I'm Mrs. Evans.
And I am Jahara. Welcome to the second episode in our Eagle Leader series where we discuss the 7 habits of happy kids, or otherwise called the 7 habits of highly effective people.
Each episode we will have a special guest who we have chosen because we believe that they are a great example of what the habit we are discussing.
The first episode discussed what habits are. In the episode, we will be talking about habit 1, which is be proactive. Jahara, can you tell our listeners what being proactive means?
Yes, it means that you are in charge.
You mean we are in charge of everyone?
No, it means that you are in charge of yourself.
It means that you are the only one who can control your actions and feelings, and it is best to make something happen instead of waiting for it to happen.
Think of a time when you were at home and you felt bored. Did you wait for someone to tell you what to do, or did you try to be proactive and make a change yourself? You could wait around all day waiting for someone to come play with you or go give you something entertaining to do.
Instead of sitting around, you should be proactive and find something to do. You could go outside and play, find a book to read, draw or build something, or just use your imagination.
Other ways you can be proactive is if you see something wrong, you can try to fix it before the problem gets worse or waiting for someone else to fix it. This could be something as simple as if you are outside at recess and there is trash on the ground. Don't wait around for someone else to throw it away. Be proactive and go do it yourself.
One of the best ways to be proactive is to control your emotions.
If you are ever getting upset, you should be proactive and try to calm yourself down.
Teachers are some of the most proactive people out there. They have to plan everything ahead of time and take initiative to get things done. And we have asked a very special guest on today to speak about being proactive.
Welcome, Mrs. McKay. Would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Like Mrs. Evans said, I am Mrs. McKay. I am a kindergarten teacher at Village.
Thank you for coming, Mrs. McKay. Have you ever heard of the 7 habits of happy kids?
Actually, I have. I've talked to Mrs. Evans about it before because I think it would be a really good book to take to Camp Alexander as well for our kids.
What does being proactive mean to you?
It's kind of a big word. To me, it means to take responsibility for your choices and for your actions and your behaviors.
How does being proactive help you being a teacher?
Well, I have to take initiative. I have to wake up every morning and I have to choose my actions and choose my attitude and choose my mood. I get to choose if I want it to be a good day or if I want it to be a bad day.
How do you take charge in your job?
Well, I have to sit down every week and I have to think about what I need to teach, what I want to teach, how I want to teach it, and make sure that I get all my lesson plans written, all my copies made, and all my things ready for the team, talk to my grade level.
Is being proactive easy or hard for you?
I don't know if you'd believe this, but it comes pretty naturally for me. I was raised in a household where you had to take responsibility. You had to take the initiative. You couldn't say, I'm bored. You had to go find something to do and do it.
I have a question. So you said you were raised that way. How were you raised that created that environment for you?
Well, one, I grew up on a farm with lots of animals, so I couldn't be lazy and sit around. They needed to be fed, they needed to be taken care of. So I had to take the initiative to get out, to get up, to get dressed, to get outside, feed everything.
We have talked about being proactive, which is the opposite of being reactive. Can you explain that to our listeners?
Yeah. To me, being reactive is when you respond to someone else's actions instead of your own. So instead of realizing that maybe I didn't get my job done, I want to look for someone else to blame. I want to be upset with someone else, but really instead I probably should be upset with myself.
Do you have any tips on how students can be proactive?
Well, I think it's a mindset. I think you need to choose your attitude every day to wake up and decide to be the best version of you that you can be. So do your job, be a good listener, be a good friend, be a good citizen.
How is being proactive smarter to be responsible?
Oh, good question. I think they pretty much are the same. Being proactive and being responsible means that you're being a good citizen and you're being a good student, you're being a good person, right? You're taking charge of your actions and your responsibilities, you're getting your work done.
One of the things we talked about was being proactive by staying calm and controlling our emotions. Do you have any suggestions on how we can do that?
I think that also goes with a lot of our second step stuff, right? All of our breathing strategies and naming our feelings. So being proactive and staying calm, if we make our lists, get our work done, try to make sure that we have checked everything off so that we can be good students.
And I was discussing this actually with a group of students today, and we were looking at different examples of how students could be proactive, and we were talking about if someone was in class and they were beginning to get upset, what are some strategies they could do in their classroom? Like, what do we have in every classroom in our building that they could use? Can you guys think?
I think you all call it different names probably.
Okay.
In my room, I call it a calm corner. Do you guys have a safe space like that?
I have one at home.
Like a regulation station? Okay.
Yeah, so like talking about if you're feeling upset, it's a proactive step to, instead of letting yourself get even more upset, being like recognizing your feelings and taking a step back and, oh, okay, I'm going to be proactive and go calm myself down before it goes any further.
I also have a question for you guys. Coming from students or leaders in our building, the habit that you guys have been learning about, do you think it relates to like any of our school rules or your social contract, I guess I should say, probably? Do any of you have responsibility or effort?
Yeah,
How do you guys think that it relates?
because you have to try your best.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
All the time, right? At home, at school, that is how you become the best version of you.
Well, and if it's your social contract, if you see somebody, or if you're noticing yourself not doing something on the social contract, what would you do?
Well, you could just tell them that they weren't following the rules and they should be paying attention so they can learn the information they need to learn.
Yeah.
So do you think learning about the 7 habits of happy kids is helping you become a better Eagle leader or a better friend or a better student?
Yeah, definitely.
I agree. I think it's great.
How do you think we can make being proactive a habit?
Oh, gosh. I think that if you show up to school every day or show up wherever you are supposed to be, whether it's at home or school, and you do your very best and you try your hardest and take initiative and put forth that effort, then I think it just becomes a natural part of who you are. So you don't even realize you're doing it anymore. It's just natural.
Do you ever notice any of your students being proactive?
Yes, but when we're 5 in kindergarten, it takes a little bit more of learning. I mean, honestly, we're still learning how to take the initiative because we're still learning how to be at school and how to follow those directions. But yes, every time that they follow the social contract, they're being proactive and they're doing a great job.
What about when you were teaching fourth grade?
For sure. All the time. If you know that you're doing the right thing, if you're checking your friends when they're off task, if you're reminding your friends to follow the social contract and to do their work and to be the best version of them, then they're being proactive. And then you both are winning, right? Your whole class is winning.
We've talked a lot about being proactive in school and in the classroom and following rules. What are some ways you are proactive in your home life or outside of school?
I have a lot of just natural habits that I do. For instance, Sundays, I like to make sure that I have a menu planned for the week. I like to have all my groceries bought and ready to go so that if something happens during the week, I don't have to worry about what's for dinner. I already know what I'm supposed to make and how long it's going to take. Same thing with laundry. I like to have it all picked out, ready to go, just to make my life that much easier in the mornings. A lot of crock pots because then I can put all my meals in before I even go to school and I don't even have to think about it again. But I know we're going to eat and we've got clean clothes and we're ready to go.
Do you guys do anything like that at home?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. What about you?
On weekends, I do the dishes.
Oh, nice. So does somebody have to ask you to, or do you just do it?
Sometimes I do it, and sometimes my dad has to tell me.
Yeah. So sometimes you're proactive and just getting it done, and sometimes you have to be reminded. What about you?
Well, every night before bed, I usually pick out my clothes so I at least have them ready before bed.
That's awesome. One less thing you have to think about in the morning.
Definitely. Is there anything that your students do a lot, or students, elementary students, so I know kindergarten is different, but anything that they do that you're like, man, I really wish they would be more proactive about this?
I think sometimes it's the simple things, like even at recess. Maybe they're bored at recess. They don't know what to do. Their friend's playing a different game than they want to play. So instead of just finding something else to do or someone else to play with, maybe they decide to sit down and they're sad because they don't have anything to play. When instead they could be proactive and go find a different friend because we can have lots of friends, right? And we can play different games every day at recess. And same thing inside the classroom. If something's hard, instead of just sitting there and letting it be hard, we can take the initiative to ask for help, raise our hand, find someone that's willing to help us, right?
You want to know one of the funniest things that I wish students were more proactive about?
What's that?
Sharpening their pencils.
Yeah. Instead of trying to use it when it's already flat and making that squeaky sound.
Yep, or it's time to get to work and then everybody has to sharpen their pencils and I'm like, man, what about that 5 minutes when we had earlier? So that's the simple things in life, right?
Yes.
So that's your tip. Sharpen your pencils.
What advice do you have for people who are listening?
I guess my biggest advice would be that it's never too late to start taking initiative. Again, you get to wake up and decide how your day is going to go, and it can be as positive and wonderful as you make it if you just choose to do that, whether it's asking for help when you need it, or finding someone to play with, or finishing that math problem, or finding a new friend, or maybe reading a new book. As long as you take the initiative to try to be responsible and have a good day, then it'll be a good day.
All right. You guys have any other questions or anything you want to say? No? All right. What do we tell?
Thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun this afternoon.